Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is 9:30 a.m. because I am on the Pacific Northwest. I'm in Seattle right now visiting a friend, working from her place and sightseeing when I'm not working. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Let me know where you are joining me from in this big, beautiful, and messy world. I am Carol C. Miller, your positive life strategist, peace activator, and global hugger, coming to you with another episode of Embrace Your Life Chat, where the intention is to heighten celebrations and lessen sorrows through a positive focus. What does that mean? For me, positivity does not mean rainbows and unicorns and puppy dogs all day long, 24/7. That would be awesome if that were the case, but it does mean meeting life with gentleness, with compassion, with kindness, with love. And that is where those are my top values to work with. So that's what I do with coaching. That's what I do in my personal daily practices, is to show up as my best self. And sometimes my best self looks different. If I'm got plenty of sleep, my best self looks different than maybe a night that I did not sleep as well. So let me know where you're joining me from. I'm excited to see. That's one of my favorite things about this community is there are people from all over the world in it. And I'm going to get going before we talk about today's topic, especially if you're new, and let me know that as well in comments. I like to go over a couple of house cleaning kind of things. And one is I'm not a believer in absolutes. I'm not a big fan of the words always, never, right, wrong, good or bad. There are 7 billion people on this planet. I can't begin to say what's always right for someone. What I do is work from the majority of the time. So 0 being always negative, 100 being always positive, and fluctuating in between those. My daily practices are to be in the 80 to 100% of the time, loving, kind, compassionate, and peaceful. What does that mean? Unworthiness, disappointment, frustration, anger, stress, all of those things visit me, but because of my daily practices, they visit and don't move in. I don't know anybody at the 100, and I don't know anybody at the 0. I know people who are closer to both sides of the scale, but it's really about where you are. And if you think about the majority, if your scale 0 to 100, 51% puts you in the majority. So although my daily practices are to be in the 80 to 100%, perhaps you're working at being at 51%. And I want to be absolutely clear that if you're at 30, at 20, at 40, whatever your number is, does not make you right or wrong, good or bad. It just means where you are right now. And if it feels good to you, stay there. And if it feels like you would like to move forward to feel a little bit better, then that's kind of what my tips and tools are here to help you do, is to feel a little bit better. So I'm going to jump in and say hello to people who are joining me live. I know a lot of people do watch it, the replay too, and then we're going to get back into the topic. If I stay in the comments, then I won't get to the topic, but please ask your questions as I discuss today's topic, and I will come back at the end of it too. Hello, Stacia and Betty and Beck, and hello, Brian from Chicagoland today. I will be back in Chicago on late Sunday night, actually. Carrie, that is so nice of you. And Carrie, I am not saving your life. I am supporting you in saving your life. You're the one who has the ability to see your value, your worth, your reasons. I mean, when I think about it, again, there's 7 billion people on this planet. Not one of us is the same. We are all unique. Even if you have an identical twin, you have still been spoken to differently by possibly parents, by other people, other teachers. So you have different experiences to bring you to today. I know you're worthy of living your best life, and I'm grateful for you being here to know somewhere inside of you, you're aware that you're worthy of it too. So thank you, Carrie, for being here. Hello, Kathy. One of these days I'm going to get this name right, I promise you, because I know that you joined before. Biswazi? I'm from South Africa, so thank you for being here. And Michael from DeLand, Florida. I'm not sure where that is in Florida, but welcome. And thank you again, Beck. I'm happy to have you here. So, today's topic is about expectations. And this is a big one for me, and it's taken me time to realize where I have gone, um, not off the chart, but where I have focused on the wrong thing on expectation. So we're going to discuss that. And I mean the wrong thing for me. It might be the right thing for you. So again, it's where you're at, who you want to be, and how you want to show up in life. I'm sharing tips and tools that have worked for me and have worked for my clients. And if I share a tip or a tool that I've never tried, I will let you know. I've heard this is one that works, so give it a try. But I will definitely let you know when it's something that I personally not experienced or witnessed from clients before. So between Orlando and ugh, speak, Carol, Daytona, excellent. Thank you so much. And um, Lana or Lena, Lana from Northern Ireland is here. I love this community. People from all over the world. We may have different backgrounds, we may have different ethnicities and different cultural beliefs, but I do believe at the end of the day, we want the same things. We want health, happiness, safety, and to know that we have meaningful reasons to be here and that we matter in this world. So I love what I do, and I love being able to share it here with you on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So, again, today we're talking about expectations. When I'm here solo, which is the majority of the time, I do have guests from time to time. I usually pick a word to discuss, define it, come up with an affirmation, and then some tips around it. And for me, expectations, when we're expecting too much of ourselves, sometimes we don't expect enough of ourselves, or we expect too much of others, or not enough of others. So let's just discuss expectation. And the word expect is expect, regard something as likely to happen. Expectation is a strong belief that something will happen or be the case in the future. And I know for me, sometimes I have expectations of other people that are my expectations of them, not theirs. So that's where frustration comes involved because I'm expecting them to be, to do, to say, to think in a way that works for me. And yet, what their expectation of is completely different. So we're going to talk about that as well. But so the definition is expect, regard something as likely to happen, or expectation, a strong belief that something will happen or be the case in the future. So keep those in mind. And now we're going to have an affirmation. Honestly, not sure that this isn't my favorite affirmation, but I do like to have the actual word in the affirmation. So keep in mind that it may not be as resonant with you. And we're going to talk about ways to make it like I absolutely believe. I just use an absolute. I I do believe that if you put it in your own words, it's going to be more powerful for you than if you use my words that don't resonate. An affirmation's simply a statement. It's not good, bad, right, or wrong. It can be good and it can be positive and it can be negative. It's what you say and what you believe about it. Because you can say, I am very smart, but if you do, and that pretty much sounds positive, I think you would agree with me on that. But if you immediately say, no, I'm not very smart, then that positive statement for you is not a good one because you've already negated it before you've even tried it out. So you want your affirmation to be truthful and believable. It can be a stretch from where you are, but you don't want to negate it right away because these affirmations are to help replace things that we've heard about ourselves, things that we've told ourselves over the years that are in the back of our heads, and we're making decisions off of those, and we're pulling those negative self-talk up, often unconsciously. And so it's about putting new thoughts in to be some more worthiness thoughts, some more I believe in me thoughts. So today's affirmation is I expect things to work out for my highest good. If that sounds right to you and believable, that is a good one to use. But if you're in a place right now in your life where things aren't working out the way you want them to, then I would go into I'm in the process of expecting things to work out for my highest good. Or I'm curious if things could work out for my highest good. I wonder how it would be if things worked out for my highest good. Get into a place where you're adding the possibility into it rather than the improbability of it. And when it's a possible statement, then it's going to be something that's going to move you forward. If it's an improbable statement, it's not going to stop you, but it is going to slow your progress down or hold you back from living those dreams that you want to live. And it's about the worthiness of believing that you deserve to live those dreams. So that's the affirmation for today. So how can we work on expectation? First of all, I'd love to know in comments, Like, do you feel like you expect too much of yourself and others or not enough? Because sometimes when we don't expect enough, it's the fear of failure that keeps us from expecting more. It's easier to stay safe and not do a lot of things because you may fail at it, and it would feel better to be safe rather than fail at it. Failure really is not a word in my vocabulary other than I've just said it like 5 times, because if it's something you're trying, you're just adjusting and shifting and moving forward. So what you might try in this moment may not work out the way you want it to, but I wouldn't call it a failure. Failure for me is if I keep doing the same thing and not learning and growing from it. Trust me, even though I know that to be true and I believe that, does not mean that I don't get disappointed or upset when I perceive that I failed at something. I think it's very easy to get into blame, complain mode when we have done something that we thought would be successful, and in reality, it turned out exactly the opposite of what we wanted. So if you've ever done something that you're upset or mad or disappointed that you didn't do well, that's normal. Just don't stay in that space for that long, because that's the whole point, is like, don't feed the energy of fear, the energy of disappointment, the energy of anger to a point that it's taken over and it is now your primary source of what you're thinking about. So feel what you need to feel and move forward from there. And if you've been with me for a while, you're probably ready for the first tip, and that is to be aware of how you feel. I don't say it every day, but I do say it a lot, because when we're in awareness of how we feel, then we can adjust from there. If you're aware that you're angry, then you can either decide to be, I need to be angry right now. This has got my attention. And you can stay in that space for a while, get curious and ask yourself, what is here for me to learn? How can I move forward from this space rather than acting upon your anger and learn from it? Or you're aware you're angry and it doesn't feel good, and you start shifting into feeling a little bit better. When we're in awareness, we are in the driver's seat of our life. Doesn't mean we're going to take off and drive 100 miles an hour. We still may need to put the training wheels on and start slow to get there. But when you're aware of your feelings, that allows you to adjust and shift, or stay there if you need to feel sad. Stay there if you need to feel angry. Stay there if you need to feel frustrated. It's not a right or wrong. It's how do you feel? How do you want to feel and move forward? So the first one is to be aware of how you feel. So when you're aware that you're not meeting your expectations, or you're aware that you are, or you're aware that somebody else is disappointing you because they haven't met your expectations, that allows you to make the shift from there. It takes you out of the blame, shame, complain mode and puts you in solutions focus. It puts you into awareness of, where is this frustration coming from? Where is this disappointment coming from? A lot of times we have displaced emotions that you might say something to me that triggers me into being very sad or hurt feelings or whatever. And what you actually said wasn't even that potent, but it brought up a memory to me of something else. And so my actual emotions are from something that happened. Maybe it happened yesterday and what you said triggered it. Maybe it happened in childhood and what you said triggered it. So it's really about being aware, inquiring with ourselves on, why does it feel this way? Why does that hurt my feelings? Why does that make me frustrated? Why does that make me angry? And being okay to move forward from there. Sit with it as long as you need to, just don't let it take over. And if it starts to take over, then I would really encourage you to look into, like, breathing, get into gratitude, the normal things that I say most every day here as far as tips to move forward. But again, I really want you to understand, if you're in that space of hardship right now, if you're in that space of unworthiness or whatever has you not feeling your best self, it is not wrong. It's just where you are right now. And there are ways to move forward to feel a little bit better. And again, talking about the majority of the time, I totally forgot at the very beginning of this to mention my second thing that I like to let people know, and that is, I'm a coach. I love supporting people and growing their best life, whatever that looks like. I'm not a therapist, nor am I a counselor. And sometimes to live your best life, getting that type of support, that type of support from people who are trained in whatever you're having a challenge with. If you have clinical depression or those types of things. My tips might help you, but probably if you're in a place where you're being debilitated by something, then I would encourage you to go to somebody who has the expertise in it. I don't have expertise in those modalities, in those situations, not modalities. So I do encourage you to look for the support that's going to help you live your best life. The next one I have is to ask yourself, and I've said this one before too, when you have a to-do list of 10 things for today, and every one of those things on your to-do list is doable, like you can actually check off all 10 of them if your day goes the way you want it to. It's the end of the day, you have done 7 of them, but missed 3. You had the ability to do all of them, but something came up. Who knows what the reason is? But you missed 3 of them. At the end of the day, where is your focus? If you're focused on the 7 you accomplished, then keep that list that's managing those expectations in a larger scale because you're focused on what you did do rather than what you didn't do. Myself, and it's been a practice and I'm far better at it now, but myself, I would be the focuser on the 3 I didn't do. And I would be beating myself up over why I didn't get them done, even if I had legitimate reasons for not getting them done. If I told myself I was going to do 10 and I did 7, I would be disappointed in myself. So then, for people who are like me, again, daily practice, I'm not there now, but it's something I'm aware of that can easily, the days that I haven't gotten enough sleep or I'm in a challenging time, I can easily step back into that experience. I lessen my list to maybe depending on where you're at on that, maybe 5. And so I can get 5 done. Maybe it's 3. And I'm a big believer because of how I operate through things. I'm a under promise over deliver person because if I promise that I'll do 3 things and then I do 5 things, I feel better about it. If I promise I do 5 things and only do 3, even if I have reasons for not doing those other 2, I tend to beat myself up over it. Not nearly as much again now as I did in the past because of my daily practices, but know how you feel when the to do list isn't done. Are you focusing on the good things that I don't want to necessarily say good? Are you focused on the things you did accomplish, or are you noticing and paying attention to what you didn't accomplish? When you're in the I'm focusing on those 7, then you can keep that expectation larger because you're not beating yourself up over what you didn't do. If you're focusing on the 3 and you're beating yourself up over it, I just encourage you to lessen your expectations of what your to-do list should look like and get 3 done. Or say you're going to do 3, do 5, and you're just going to feel better, which is going to allow you to accomplish more as well. This next one is what has been a challenge for me as well, and meet people where they are, not where you expect them to be. So if you're expecting, as I mentioned earlier, if you're expecting somebody to say, act, do certain things to meet your expectations, and yet they have completely different expectations, you need to be aware that we can't change other people. I sure wish we could. We only have the ability to change how we perceive and act and move forward through things. So it's been a lesson for me because that's one of the things that I like to do, and that just is my normal mode, is to see the best in people. Great thing to do to see the best in people, but you need to allow them to show up where they are. Maybe they aren't acting from their highest, best self right now. Doesn't mean they're a bad person or a wrong person. It just means where they are. But if they're acting this way and I'm expecting them to act here, they they probably don't care, but I'm frustrated, I'm disappointed, I'm sad, I'm angry, whatever that is. So know that it's your own expectations and not theirs. So pay attention to when you're getting frustrated with somebody or even yourself. Was that your expectation or was it theirs? And if it was theirs, that's a different subject as far as if you've talked about together the expectation of something that's going on. But I do think a lot of us tend to perceive what we want in other people, and then we get disappointed because they're not living up to our expectations. So I encourage you to see the best and highest in people, but let them show up where they are and move through their journey in life. You get to decide if you're seeing the best in them and yet they're showing up not the best in them, then it's your decision on how much time, energy, and attention you want to give them. It doesn't mean you have to be there 24/7 and be codependent in where they're at. You can still hold that vision for them to be their best self, their highest self, and still honor your own boundaries if they're not meeting what you need. It's not a right or wrong, good or bad. It's where you're at, it's where they're at, and they may not they might not gel right now, and that's okay too. So know whose expectations that you're getting frustrated with. Are they yours? Are they theirs? And then shift from there. The next one, it's kind of the same in a certain way, is to know what you have control over. Sometimes we get upset about expectations, but when you look at the big picture of it, especially like if it's, well, it could be family, work, or anything, but if it's something that the expectation is out of your control and you're still frustrated and disappointed or angry about it, know what you have control over. We don't have control over other people, but we do have control over how we respond and react, and that takes practice, especially if it's something really that you're frustrated about. But again, it's going back to, I cannot change this person. I i can love this person as they are. I can see this person as their highest self that I wish that they would strive to be or be, but I can't make those changes. So I can change the way I react to them. I can change the way I respond to them. I can change how much time, energy, and attention I give them depending on where they are and where I'm at. If it's less time with them, doesn't mean they're a bad person. It doesn't mean I'm a great person. It just means we're in different space. And the better that you can manage your own and maintain your own space and your own expectations, the easier it is to move through with other people. And then lastly, it's to be gentle with yourself. We talk a lot about the unkindness of other people in our lives or in the world, and it's there. That's why I open this up as this beautiful and messy world we live in. A lot of beauty in the world, and there's a lot of mess in the world. But we tend to be our worst enemies, especially if you start truly paying attention, being aware of your thoughts and your words and your actions. I think you're going to be surprised how many of your thoughts are beating yourself up, how many of your word choices are beating yourself up. So when you're managing your expectations, know that you're not going to get it right all the time. I certainly don't. And I'm aware that if I'm beating myself up over something that I thought about, said, did, that isn't for my highest good, when I'm focused on the beating myself up over it, I am feeding what I don't want to feed. I'm feeding fear. I'm feeding disappointment. I'm feeding frustration. When I'm gentle with myself and moving into compassion for myself, then I'm feeding love, kindness, compassion, and peace. It's not a right or wrong, good or bad. It's where you're at and where you want to be and how you want to feel. So know that it's okay. I still beat myself up on occasion, probably daily in my thoughts, but I'm aware of them, so I shift into a better feeling place. I go back into my affirmations. I definitely use gratitude as a way to support my growth and being in my highest self. I don't remember, there is a quote, I don't remember the exact quote, but it's something about when you have no expectations, then you're not going to be disappointed. And that's true. I just don't know the majority of us function that way. I think that, at least for me, managing my expectations and setting a lower expectation so then I can be pleasantly surprised has been what works for me. I'm not somebody who goes into any relationship of work, romance, friends, family without some sort of um, what what are we going to do in this situation? So do what works for you. If you can live life with no expectation and just move through, enjoy, go for it. You'll have to tell me how you did it because I'm still working on that one. But it really has helped me for managing my expectations. So I remind myself, this is my expectation. It's not the world's expectation. It's not other people's expectation. It's mine. and how can I feel better about it and move through it with a little bit more grace and ease. So that is what we have for you today. I hope it helps on expectation, and I'm going to come in here to comments to see if there are any questions. I also wanted to tell you, so Tuesdays and Thursdays are now the new schedule because of my own schedule changing. Next week, Wednesday, the first Wednesdays of the month at 6 p.m. Chicago time, Central Time, I am doing, it's called Dream Activation, and it's a process to help you feel like you're living the dreams that you are in the process of creating. It puts you in that space of feeling it now, which helps you manifest it into reality. So I will put the link in the comments if you want to join me. It's a group call at 6 p.m. on Zoom, so it's something that anyone can do, just knowing the time zone differences depending on where you are in this big, beautiful, and messy world. So let's see. Hello, Laura, Kathy. Yours. Um, Thank you, Kathy. I'm glad that this is helping you. Sylvia, what wise? Oh, thank you. I'm getting a lot of nice comments. Well, I so honored to be part of this community. And I have to say, the vast, vast, vast majority, whether it's comments here on the lives or just comments on my postings, I would say are probably 99% kind. So I appreciate all of you. This can help with OCD. That's something I've not really addressed, Laura. So that's a great thing to know. Thank you. Can help with OCD. Hello, Steve from Germany. Steffi, even with no expectations, you still get hurt and somehow still end up feeling depressed and disappointed. Just not surprised. I feel this is negative, but my experience, unfortunately. Steffi, I did not say this today, and I'm not sure how often you've been here. Negativity is not wrong either. That's why I had the scale of 0 to 100. The vast majority of us, probably 99.9% of people, feel negative emotion, and it's absolutely okay. And yes, when we have expectations of others that aren't met, we can get frustrated or depressed. And that's where I encourage you. And it's a practice. It's not like you learn this one day and tomorrow it works perfectly for you. But remembering that we can't control other people, darn it, but we can work on meeting them where they are and knowing that what their words are, their actions are, generally speaking, are something unhealed within themselves that have triggered something unhealed within us. So when you're able to start observing that experience rather than absorbing that experience, the less impact it's going to have on you. Takes practice, and it's okay to be upset with other people. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to have your feelings hurt. Just depends on how long you want to give those feelings power over you. Not right or wrong. It's what works for you. Your experience would be different from my experience, from Steve's experience, from Laura's experience. So please know that it's just a practice, and I encourage you to give it a try and see if it works. But yeah, I think expectations is a big trigger point for a lot of people, and it has been for me too, because I've worked on it so much, it isn't as triggering as it was, say, 5 years ago, even. But I can still have it impact me, and I go into awareness. Why is this triggering me? Why is their behavior? They get to decide their behavior. Why is their behavior upsetting me? Why is their behavior making me angry? Why is their behavior making me feel less than? And go from there. And then I decide, yep, totally all me, or for whatever reason, this person isn't good in my life. Not a bad person, but not a good person for me. So then I look at, depending on what our relationship is, like if we work together, then I still need to, work with them. If they're family members, there's probably a good chance that I'm still going to have more time that I need to spend with them than maybe is good for me. But I start to lessen my time with them. And then I also, when I do have experiences with people who tend to drain my energy before I have interaction with them, I remind myself of that, and I set up the expectations of that particular event. And I often, one of my favorites is that went better than expected. When I say that went better than expected, it doesn't mean it's perfect. And sometimes when we say that's the best meeting I've ever attended, we've already set ourselves up for knowing that, how I mentioned in the affirmation, if I say an affirmation and I immediately say, no, it's not true, then it's not true. So if I'm setting up for a meeting or a phone call or whatever, and I say that was the best call I've ever had with that person, most likely I've already said, well, I don't see that happening. So when I say that went better than expected, it means it could still be a bit of a challenge, but it went better than I expected it to be. And so far, that has worked for me every time. Can't promise it will every single time, but at this point it has. So I hope that helps as well, Steffi. Again, be gentle with yourself because we are all humans and these are human emotions and human experiences. And the less we beat ourselves up over it, the easier it is. Not easy, easier it is to move through them. Brian, focusing on expectations is important. They are often not clear, shared, or even spoken. That is so true. And often I have an expectation of somebody, they have an expectation of me. Neither of us have discussed it. We just both assume it to be. And it could be even people you've known for a long time, too. So if it's something important to you, I would encourage you to discuss what each person is wanting to get out of that experience. Um, Hello, Amelia. Nice to see you. And she just walked into the room. Oh, I love that Amelia's school practices mindfulness. I think it is so important to be able to start at that young age. I remember I've seen memes on social media, and I don't remember it exactly, but if kids started uh, meditating at 5 or 8 or something like that, how in 10, 15 years the world would be a different experience because they learn how to have that mindfulness for themselves. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I don't see any other questions. Sometimes I miss the comments until I come back and look at them later. Marilyn from Newfoundland, Canada, welcome. Glad to have you here. So I don't see any other comments, but if I did miss anything, I promise I will come back later in the day, look at them, and respond from them there. I will be back on Tuesday. Not sure what the topic will be yet. It will be something to heighten celebrations and lessen sorrows. Wednesday again. Let me post. Oh, I just knocked my computer. Again, I'm at my friend's house in a bedroom here. So you can find pretty much everything you need to know about me on that link there to be able to sign up for the dream activation on Wednesday. I haven't talked about it for a while, but I do have global free hugs coming back in September, September 9th through the 11th. One of my favorite ways to connect with people is to share a hug. So if you're interested, that link also has a way for you to learn more, and I would love for you to sign up. I think right now we have people on 3 continents, 4 countries, and 10 US states. It's still quite a ways away. And obviously, if there's still issues with COVID in your community, part of it is to make sure that you're following the guidelines in your own community as well. I want everybody to be safe, happy, and healthy. So that is what I have for you today. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. I hope you have expectations for yourself to be kind, gentle, loving, compassionate, and peaceful with yourself. The more you fill yourself up with that, the easier it is to offer that to other people as well. So take care of yourselves. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Have a wonderful weekend. I will be back in Chicago Sunday night, late Sunday night. So I will be back at home for the Tuesday call. So we'll talk then. Have a great weekend. And remember, you matter. You matter to me. You matter to the world. And most importantly, you matter to you. So long for now.